Good afternoon, my name is Aquinaldo Bhato. You just call me Aldo. I'm from Alvarez High School. Here, I want to tell you the story about the wizard and the hopping pot. The Wizard and the Hopping Pot. There was once a kindly old wizard who used his magic generously and wisely for the benefit of his neighbors. Rather than reveal the true source of his power, he pretended that his poisons, charms, and antidotes sprang ready made from the little cauldron he called his lucky cooking pot. From miles around, people came to him, and the wizard was pleased to give his pot a stir and put things right. This well beloved, the wizard lived to a goodly age, then died, leaving all his chattels to his only son. This son was of a very different disposition to a gentle father. Those who couldn't work magic to the son's mind worthless, and he had often quarreled with his father's habit of dispensing medical aid to their neighbors. Upon the father's death, the son found hidden inside the old cooking pot a small package bearing his name. He opened it, hoping for gold, but found instead a soft, thick slipper, much too small to wear and without pair. A fragment of pergament within the slipper bore the words, "In the fond hope, my son, that you will never need it." The son cursed his father's age-softened mind, then threw the slipper back into the cauldron, resolving to use it henceforth as a rubbish pail. That very night, a peasant woman knocked on the front door. "My granddaughter was afflicted by a cough of fire, sir," she told him. "Your father used to make a special poultice on the old cooking pot." "Begone!" cried the son. "What care I for your brat's words?" And he slammed the door on the old woman's face. At once, there came a loud clanging and banging from his kitchen. The wizard lit his wand, and he opened the door. And there, for his amazement, he saw his father's old cooking pot. It had sprouted a single foot of brass and hopping on the spot in the middle of the floor, making a fearful noise upon the flagstone. The wizard approached it in wonder, but filled back horribly when he saw that the whole pot's surface was covered in warts. "Disgusting object!" he cried. He tried firstly to vanish the pot and clean it by magic, and finally to force it out of the house. None of his spells worked, however, and he was unable to prevent the pot hopping after him out of the kitchen, following him up to the bed, and clanging and banging in every wooden stair. The wizard could not sleep all night with the banging of the warty pot by his bedside. And the next morning, the pot insisted upon hopping after him to the breakfast table. Clang, 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 when the pot footed brass. And the wizard had not even started his porridge when there came another knock on the front door. An old man stood there on the doorstep. "This is my old donkey, sir. Lost it is, or stolen," he explained. "And without her, I can take my work to the market, and my family will go hungry tonight." "And I'm hungry now," roared the wizard. And he slammed the door on the old man's face. Clang, 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 went the cooking pot single foot of brass upon the floor. But now it was mixed with the brains of a donkey and human groans of hunger echoing from the depths of the pot. "Be still, be silent," shrieked the wizard. But none of his magical powers could quieten the warty pot, which it hovered at his heels all day, banging and groaning and clanging, no matter where he went or what he did. That evening, there came another knock on the front door, and there, on the threshold, stood a young woman sobbing as though her heart would break. "My baby is grievously ill," she told him. "Won't you please help us? Your father bade me come if troubled." But the wizard slammed the door on her. And now the tormenting pot filled to the brim with salt water and sprouted tears all over the floor as it hovered and brayed and groaned and sprouted more warts. Thus, no more villagers came to seek help at the wizard cottage for the rest of the week. The pot kept him informed with their many ills. Within a few days, it's not only banging and groaning and sloping and hopping and sprouting warts. It was also choking and raging, crying like a baby, wailing like a dog, spewing out the badges and stomach and plague of hungry slugs. The wizard could not sleep or eat with the pot beside him, but the pot refused to live, and he could not silence it or force to be still. At last, the wizard could bear it no more. "Bring me all your troubles, all your problems and your woes," the wizard screamed, filling to the night, with the pot hopping behind him along to the road into the village. "Come, let me cure you, let me mend you and comfort you. I have my father's old cooking pot, and I shall make you well." With the full pot still bounding behind him, he ran up the street, casting all spell in every direction. Inside one house, a little girl watched vanish as he slept. The lost donkey was summoned from a distant briar patch and sat down softly in its stable. The sick baby was dozed in dignity and woke well and rosy. In every house of sorrow and sickness, the wizard did his best, and gradually the pot stopped banging and groaning and became quiet, shiny, and clean. "Well, pot?" asked the trembling wizard, and the sun began to rise. The pot brought out the single slipper he had thrown into it and reminded him to fit it on to the breastfoot. Together, they set back to the wizard's house. The pot footstep muffled at last, but from that day forward, the wizard helped the villagers like his fathers before him, lest the pot cast off the slipper and began to hope once more, That's all about my story. Thanks for watching.